Hello everybody, Lake Station Community Advocate and Educator here, back for Does Your Leader Part 2. In the first video I kind of went through some simple questions to kind of challenge you about leadership within a company, within a corporation, maybe within your local community. And hopefully people kind of throw this together, and it's very important that we know how to identify these things, because that's the only way that things will stop, and that you can make things better for yourself and for others around you. In this part, I want to read my quote because you guys know I love quotes. So, fear has no place in management and leadership. If anyone uses fear as a strategy to get their people to work, that person has no place leading or managing anyone. It's pretty powerful. Very powerful. And I'll go through that. Maybe I might do a part 3 tonight. Maybe not. But I'm going to go through the second part of Does Your Leader. So with all the leadership throughout history, corporations and otherwise, I have took an amazing course on leadership and got some certifications and stuff. However, I want to kind of go through with Does Your Leader. So let's start. They come to power through legal political terms, right? Doesn't sound so bad. Literally set fire to a lot of things that goes on. They kind of oppose any political pluralism, meaning they only want one political party, and that's all they want. And some of the three main features of that are going to be a very centralized power, meaning it only comes through them and them alone. There's a lot of absence of individual freedoms of your community members, of your workers, whatever the case is, right? And usually they will completely and utterly always resort to violence, harassment, fear-mongering, instilling fear, things like that, unfortunately. Sometimes some of these elements also will include the forcible suppression of any sort of oppositional person or someone they may deem it's not in their in-group and is considered to be a threat to them. They kind of subordination of individuals, right? They need to have a large mass of people to be following them in everything they feel, and usually fear is the tool that they're going to use to do it. Now, whether it's, let's just say, for instance, your mayor starts telling everybody, if you don't vote for me and you don't do these things, I not only want you fired, but I want you out of this neighborhood. So let's figure a way to get you out of our neighborhood. Some of the things that they'll do is they will harass you for a shingle missing, having some loose boards. Your grass is too high to them. And then what they do is they throw you an obscene amount of large fine, code enforcement violation for this. And then they know you ain't going to pay it. So what they do is they'll go down to their local county facility or complex, put a lien on your property, hawk your property from you, and they will remove you out of their town. And yes, this does happen, unfortunately, in a lot of communities where the community isn't thriving and where they can't figure out why things are going wrong, unfortunately. They will enact laws, and usually without the approval or the interaction of their community members or their workers or whatever the case is. They don't want that input. They almost want to hold them and keep them ignorant. But how do you identify a teacher or a leader, a teacher, even a boss, or whatever the case is, a mayor, an administration, a council? How will we do that? Well, you could do some historical research on people like Hitler and Stalin and Mao and Pol Pot and Lenin. Those were some very clear leaders that also use this very same tactic, and it's not off limits today. It doesn't matter even if they do it legally. It's very unethical, very ignorant, very, very concerning if leaders are using these tactics. But yet some of these leaders can also be identified from other things and from some other traits, like lack of open communication. They don't want nobody communicating anything to them unless it's on their terms. They micromanage everybody. They have to tell everybody, you don't talk to this person, you don't do this. You're going to go and harass these people because I said so. This is how you're going to do it. They're really resistant to any sort of change or any sort of real idea of progress. They will utterly and almost always use a fear-based tactic to control, period. Now, whether this is they know that people can't pay for code enforcement violations, so they're going to go give them an obscene amount of fund violation that they know they can't pay, that's very not considerate to the residents or to the workers or whatever the case is, and then they will give them in a very short amount of time to rectify that situation. And they're doing it on purpose. And that causes some fear in people. Or let's say someone agrees with the social media post or something going on. They don't like the fact that you're on the outside group and you're disagreeing with the in group of their way of thinking. So they have some of their insiders, their supporters, their whatever the case is, send you a message and they threaten you on Facebook and private messaging. That's another fear-mongering and fear-based tactic that leaders will use. They're excellent manipulators. And usually it's just because they're worried and they have a very large, there's a mechanism within them that's broken, they need help. And a lot of times it's because they have a fear of being found out, who people may see them for who they really are, and that they're going to be exposed, period. And so they use fear-based tactics a lot. This way, it kind of shuns you away and you don't want to go look at them or even deal with them. It keeps you at a distance, but close enough that they can control and manipulate you. They will almost always make excuses as to why this or that happened, and it's, oh, well, it wasn't this mayor, it was the one from the one before him or the one before her or whatever the case is, or, it wasn't me, it was from the boss before me. It's always something, right? They're very quick to blame others. Very, very quick. They will take no personal responsibility for their own failures. They will pass the blame. They will strategically, and this is really big, especially in like local politics. They will strategically share public or private information about people or their workers, whoever it is, police officers, city workers, whoever, that is not aligned with them or with their views, or that's in their in-group, or even in their in-group. If they just don't align with their views and the way they see things, they will strategically share their private or personal information, whether it's online or they will spread rumors. And it's very basic to cause very negative views of those that oppose them. It's that simple. They will withhold any sort of truth about those persons. Even if it's good, they will still withhold it. But here's another thing that they will do. They will create toxic work environments. Kind of like, here's an example. If you don't vote for me, I will find a reason to fire you or to get rid of you. We will figure something out. Otherwise, you're a goner. You better vote for me. So therefore, the employees are afraid to speak up for themselves or others. There's always one way of communication only. It's their way or the highway, period. They will almost virtually never give any feedback sessions. And I don't know how many companies I worked for that we always did feedback sessions. And then I loved them. And this is all usually because they have some serious psychological and underlying fears that they need to take care of, and situations and issues that they just have not got worked out. Something else that these leaders will also do is they will reject the said rules, or political or otherwise, it doesn't matter to them. They will deny legitimate and legitimacies of the opponents or people. They will tolerate political violence. They're okay with it. They will curtail civil liberties from people. They also work at breaking down social cohesion, the in-group, out-group. They will break that apart and conquer specifically for a very political rule and for their way. If this sounds like any leader you have, start calling it out, start challenging it, because it's dangerous. Companies go under because of leaders like this. Neighborhoods go under because of leadership like this, and countries have been destroyed because of countries like this. Maybe we forgot about World War II and what happened there, huh? It's not off limits to anybody. I'm the Lake Station community advocate and educator. Go check that out on Facebook, the Lake Station Strong Towns Collective, and also check out the Lake Station Strong Local Conversations on Facebook. This was part 2. Fear has no place in management and leadership. If anyone uses fear as a strategy to get people to work, then that person has no place leading or managing anyone.